What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wealth Made Simple. I'm super excited to sit down with one of my friends, Douglas James, CEO of LeadFi. Douglas, I'm always, excited to talk to other founders about what's the reason why you decided to get into entrepreneurship? How did that bridge happen for you? And I know I had a little bit of background of your story, but let's kind of dive into it today.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Love the new studio here. It's beautiful. Yeah, man. So I was mentioned to you, I was active duty for 10 years.
Yeah.
I was in the Navy. I was a hospital corpsman. Ran around with the Marines.
What's a hospital corpsman?
So a hospital corpsman is basically, you can consider it like a nurse's assistant. Like, I'm kind of like a jack of all trades in the hospital. You could put me anywhere. I could help the doctors. I can help the emergency room, anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
And hospital corpsman can become specialized as well. So if I want to be a doctor or nurse or a lab tech, I can. And actually, I went on to become a laboratory technician. So I'm the guy that, if you get sick, you go see the doctor, you pee in a cup, they take your blood, whatever, they give it to me. I put it on the machine, analyze it, tell the doctor what's wrong with you.
Okay.
But before I was specialized as a lab tech, I went to field medical training for 3 months to learn how to do combat wound dressing, jungle warfare, all the things, because when the Marines are out on the battlefield, Afghanistan, wherever, overseas, they don't have a medical battalion. They don't have their own medical. The Navy's hospital corpsmen are their medical.
Got it.
So when they get shot or anything happens, the Navy corpsmen are there to patch them up. So I went to learn how to do that. And I mean, I've rogered up for 2 deployments and both of them got canceled due to funding. So like, fortunately, I have 2 baby girls now. So I'm like, okay, I'm glad I'm like here living and not, and able to raise a family. But there was a time where I wanted to get out there and do the thing, right?
How old were you when this was all happening?
I joined the Navy when I was 19 years old.
Okay.
And I got out in 2019. I was 30 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were in for a while.
Yeah, 10, 11 years.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So did you see some things? Like
I saw a lot of things. Yeah, I saw a lot of things. So I worked with a ton of combat veterans. I was a part of, we did a deployment to Papua New Guinea, Fiji, and the Philippines as well, where we, it was a humanitarian mission where we were like, building schools for kids, rendering medical aid, doing a lot of, amazing humanitarian work. But also, like I said, I work with combat veterans that were coming back from deployment that had missing legs, and they were in the traumatic brain injury clinic in Washington, D.C., and I was helping them recover, for a couple of years when I was stationed there in D.C. So I have seen a lot of, things that would be kind of shocking to see, but being in the medical field, these are things that you just normally see. Like, I'm not afraid of needles. We're talking about peptides. I stick myself 12 times a day. I'm not afraid of seeing blood or needles. It's just been a kind of, part of my my career in the medical field. So,
were you planning on staying in, and what pulled you out?
Man, so if you would have asked me that question about 5 years in, I was talking about putting in a package to be a physician. I wanted to become an officer, maybe even an admiral one day, like have a star on my shoulder.
Wow.
And I was on that path. So I'll give you a little bit of insight on how successful my Navy career was. So by the time I got out the military, I got out as an E6, which is a high-level supervisory position. I could be in charge of literally hundreds of people.
Yeah.
And I put on E6 in 5 years, and it takes the average person 12 years to make E6.
Wow.
So that goes to show you just like, I was just so gung-ho about the military. I thought I was going to be in for 20 or 30 years. So I did any and everything to make rank,
What is any and everything? Because to go to E6 in 5 years as opposed to 12 years, it's more than half the time, less than half the time. So what were you doing that got you that status?
I was very fortunate early along in my career to have a solid mentor. We were just talking about mentors earlier.
Yeah.
My mentor, his name was Chief Arnold, and Chief Arnold, he's a chief, so it's an E7, so it's actually one rank above what I made, E6, but he could be charged with like thousands of people. But he told me early on, like, hey, if you want to excel in your career, you gotta do things people aren't willing to do. You got to show up early, leave late. Yeah. And you got to take people with you. That's what he told me. Take people with you. Like you can't do this thing alone. So I was fortunate enough to be stationed in Washington, D.C. at the President's Hospital. So in Bethesda, Maryland, which is basically Washington, D.C. But at the President's Hospital, I got on the Me Too team. So the Me Too team is the medical team that's emergency responses 24 hours a day.
Okay.
If any politician, the president, or anyone goes to the hospital that needs blood work or anything done. So I immediately, he basically said, hey, put in your package for this, and we're going to get you on the Me Too team. And what that did is it got me a ton of exposure and photos and, you know, opportunities.
Yes.
And the leadership could see, wow, there's this gung-ho sailor, you know, that is taking care of all these politicians. That was one of my ways, you know, because, you know, all this stuff, man, you know, business, the corporate world, it is political, right? Yeah. And I was actually fortunate enough early along to be able to be in a position where I could get recognized as long as I was doing good work, showing up late, doing the right thing. It advanced my career really quick. And what that did was it gave me opportunities to take charge of certain programs and events that happened. So when it was the Navy's birthday or the hospital corpsman birthday, which are huge in the military, we love honoring our heritage. We love honoring, you know, our fallen sailors in war. So I rogered up to host and manage these. So we had the prisoner of war table, we had the color guard, we had all these different ceremonial things where, you know, an invitation went out to 5,000 people. We have 5,000 people sitting in a room, and I'm in the front directing the whole event. Wow. You know, so things like that, where you're honoring the military, you're honoring your, you know, fallen warriors. And also physical fitness is huge too in the military, because every single year we have to pass 2 physical fitness exams. I was really fit. I've always been really fit, but I was even more fit back then. And I was running circles around everyone on the track, the push-ups and sit-ups. So I said, you know what, I'm going to take charge of the command fitness as well. Okay. So, you know, 5,000 people, I partnered with the chief of the department, and I became the command fitness leader. So now I'm in charge of 5,000 people's physical fitness to determine whether they're going to stay in the military or not. So I increased retention, and I took that command from a 90% pass rate to a 99% pass rate. Wow. Just because of the programs we installed. I actually rolled out a fitness program called Healthcare to Health that got adopted by Navy Medical West. That's actually still in practice today on the West Coast and in Italy and in other parts of the world where the Navy bases are. So I say that to say that you asked me how I was able to excel, what opportunities, all the things. It's just I was just willing to take on the programs and see the opportunities that needed to be fixed. I was good at identifying problems, and I came up with solutions to solve those problems with retention, honoring heritage, and just putting myself in the best place to win. So
it seems like leadership has always been in your blood. Talk to me a little bit about before the military. Were you like in sports? Like you've always been this leader? And where did that start?
Yeah, it's a good question, man, because growing up, I didn't really have a leader. You know, we're going back to like my childhood a little bit, sports and all the things. I did play some ball in high school. You know, I was in ROTC, which is Recruit Officer Training Command, which is like pre-military. It's what you do when you're in high school. Yeah. You know, so I did do those things, but I didn't really have like a killer instinct. You know, let me be the gung-ho leader, everyone to follow. I was still trying to figure out my own, because my childhood, there was no leadership at all. You know, just a little bit of context. You know, I grew up in a household where my dad was abusing alcohol and drugs. There was physical, verbal abuse in the house. Yeah. My dad didn't work. My mom worked 12-hour shifts every night as a respiratory therapist to put food on the table. Wow. You know, there was nights we went to bed, I didn't know if I was going to eat, me and my sister. You know, so like, yeah, dude, there was a lot of strange things that I experienced growing up. So, you know, I just, through that hardship and through seeing through that lens of like, wow, this is not the type of, you know, husband, father, leader that I want to be. You know, I want to be something greater than this. So my dad was literally an example of everything not to be. Mm-hmm. You know, so I was like, I don't want to resonate with that. I want to go the opposite direction.
Yeah, and then you get into the military, and then you have this. Would you view the guy that was in E7? Yeah. Would you almost view him more as like a father figure?
He was, yes. You actually hit the nail on the head, man. So yeah, he was like a father figure to me early on in my career. You know, I went to him for any and everything. when my girlfriend broke up with me, or when I have this random bump growing on my butt, or whatever, dude, right? Like he was my dad, you know,
Yeah.
in the military, right when I joined. So
As you started climbing the ranks, then what did your family say, and did they know what type of success that you were having, the impact that you were making?
They did. They were very proud. I had a great grandfather on my mom's side that served in the Navy, and he was on the USS Arizona in Pearl Harbor when it went down.
Whoa.
You know, so for me to join the military and kind of like
a huge honor.
his legacy was a big deal. And I wish I can say that the military, and they were all super proud of me for my successes, but I wish I can say that the military was my first choice. It wasn't. It was an ultimatum, because when I was in high school, I was kind of getting into trouble, you know, bartending late nights in New Orleans till 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning.
Oh boy.
Nothing good happens after midnight, especially
And not in New Orleans.
Not at all. And, you know, graduated high school with probably 1.7 GPA. I cheated on all the smart kids. Actually, I paid the smart kids $20 to do my homework, you know, cheat on their tests for me, you know. So I guess entrepreneurial in a sense, right? Yeah, dude, I you know, I wasn't really going anywhere. So it was basically, and then I got caught shoplifting too when I was 17 from Target. Which wasn't a good look. I actually stole like almost $5,000 of stuff over like a 2-month period. I was working there before I bartend. So it got to the point where like my life was, my grandma and my mom came to me. It's like, hey, you're gonna go to college, going to the military, or getting the F out of my house.
Yeah.
You know, so that was my 3 options. So
3 options.
Not going to school, don't want my family to resent me, or, you know, so I'm going to military. So that's what I did.
Wow. So military for 10 years, correct?
Yes.
For about 10 years, you hit 30. Then what happens? What's all of a sudden, I'm no longer going to be in the military and pursue entrepreneurship? How does that happen?
So I told you I went on that deployment. You know, we went to Papua New Guinea, Fiji, and Philippines. We built schools for kids. Dude, it was literally some of the most amazing work I ever did in my life. This was late 2014, early 2015. So about 11 or so years ago now.
Yeah.
And I put on E6 on that deployment. And so when you go to advance to the next rank, you usually have to be evaluated. You have to take an exam. You got to go through this whole process to prove why you're better than everyone else to get the rank.
Wow.
It's an elaborate process. I guess I was so recognized on that deployment that they literally just gave it to me. I woke up one morning and the commander walks into my office and says, HM1, stand up. And I'm like, HM1? So HM1 means Hospital Corpsman First Class. E6 is First Class in the Navy, just to context. Because I was currently HM2, a second class.
Okay.
So when he said HM1, stand up, I was like, I'm the only one in here. What's she talking about? And she's like, HM1. I said, I gave you a command, stand up. I was like, oh. So I stood up and I'm like, and she pinned the I'm getting goosebumps because it was like, it was a huge honor, but she pinned the my new rank on my shirt. And yeah, man, that was a huge moment. Going back though, I kind of was like reminiscing a little bit in my mind there. Just so proud, man, incredible career. But went on that deployment, Papua New Guinea, Fiji, Philippines. I get back, put on E6. I'm like, dude, I think I've done all I can do in the military. Like, I can go be an admiral. I can do all these things. But honestly, I understood the system so well that I got bored. I knew exactly what I needed to do to make E7, E8, become an officer, do all the things. I had all the right people in my back pocket that would write letters of recommendations, X, Y, Z. Dude, right. I had a clear path to do everything I want to do in the military. But I realized, you know, is this really what I want to do? I want to have a family, you know, and I wanted to explore what does life look like on opportunity. I'm obviously very valuable, skillful. I know how to communicate very well. So as soon as I get back from deployment, dude, the first thing I looked up is like, how do I, you know, get out the military and make money from home? I was like starting to Google these things people Google, like, how do you make money online, right?
Interesting.
How to fire my boss. And that got me into a forum where people were like, you know, doing marketing, doing SEO, running ads. And I was like, whoa, what is this whole thing about online marketing? So, dude, I basically got into search engine optimization SEO, and I started to play around with it, and I learned how to rank local businesses' websites #1 on Google for their prospective term and city. So dentist, San Diego; chiropractor, Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And I got really good at it. And, after maybe 3 or 4 months, I was making my annual salary that the military was paying me on the monthly basis. So I was making like 50 grand a month.
Whoa.
After about 4 months.
Just reaching out to local businesses?
Just saying, hey, I would record a video. I would show their website. I'm like, here's where you're at. Here's where your competitor's at. You're on page 2 of Google. Here's your traffic to your website. Here's your competitor #1 on Google. Here's their traffic, right? And I said, here's everything that they're doing right, and here's everything you're doing wrong. I can come in for $1,500 a month and do everything that they're doing, but better, and get you ranked up so you can take over this market and traffic.
Yeah.
And I would send them to that. I would go on salesgenie.com and I would get their phone number and I would text it to their phone and get their email and email them that video. I would upload it to YouTube and send them the link. And my conversion rate was really high doing that. Like, you can go on my YouTube channel right now and you'll see like 500 videos from 2015 of me prospecting all these local businesses.
Yeah.
And I still get leads today from all those videos. That's why YouTube is huge. That's why, like, dude, like, what you're doing it right. The content you do, all the things, I'll tell you people, like, you got to invest in this stuff long term.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man, I got into SEO and I had fast success. And as soon as I got a taste of money, I'm like, dude, my time is way more valuable outside the military than it is. I can work an hour in the military and make $50. I can work an hour outside the military and make $5,000.
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense anymore. Yeah. So I immediately started pivoting my mindset. I'm going to get out. I'm not going to re-enlist.
What was that process like of getting out?
I had 4 years left on my contract.
Okay. Did you had already renew a contract, or like, because you're already in for 10 years? Isn't the mandatory time they have to stay in the military only 4 years?
So I initially signed up for a 4-year contract when I first joined the military.
Okay.
And then before I got to San Diego, I was stationed in Naples, Italy, and I just hit my 4-year mark. And so I had to renew my contract. And at the time, I'm like, fuck, you're in
Naples, Italy, enjoying life.
Enjoying life. And yeah, I'm going to renew. I'm fast track. I love the military. So they were like, well, you can do the 4 years, but if you do 6 years, you get a $30,000 bonus. I'm like, heck yeah, I'm going to stay in. So I took the 30 G's. I'm like, dude, I thought that was all the money in the world back then.
Yeah, of course.
And so they got me for 6 years. So I did 2 years, finished out up there, got to San Diego, got about 5 years left on the contract, go on to deployment. And yeah, man, I had fast success as a business owner, and I still had 4 years in. So I had to serve my time honorably, making 50 grand a month and eventually multiple six figures a month before I even got out the military.
How long before you found success did you have the time to get out? So when did the business pick up, and then how long until the contract expired?
So I started this endeavor about 4 years before I got out. And like I said, I was making
4 years.
Yeah. That's when I started. And after about 6 months, I was already making my annual salary on the monthly basis.
And there's nothing you can do to accelerate getting out.
I tried everything. Hey, what do people do that hit the lottery? Can they buy their contract? XYZ. And there was like no way for me to get out. Like I couldn't find any angle. And
so did you start pulling back on your responsibilities, like trying to take less work?
Oh yeah, dude. I stopped rogering up for stuff. I stopped volunteering. I stopped I stopped being the guy showing up early and leaving late.
What did your E7 say about this?
Oh, dude, oh my gosh. So they didn't like me at all. So here's what happened. They found out that I was running this business. They found my website, all the things, my senior leadership.
Yeah.
And they pulled me in the office and they're like, you're going to stop this right now. You know, you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to whatever this business is that you're doing. And they were scrutinizing me heavy, dude. And I basically just like, okay, I'll comply, but I never complied. I kept doing it. Mm-hmm. And eventually I showed up. I put in for some leave. It was the holiday or something. And I was going with my wife to visit her family. And I thought my leave started like on Thursday. And when it really started on the Friday, so on Thursday, I didn't show up for work. I was sleeping in, and I woke up and I had like 50 missed calls. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? So finally I call him back, and my boss, which is below my chief, said, hey, chief said, show up in your dress whites. When you get told show up in your dress whites, it's not a good thing. Your dress white is your formal. You ever seen the sailors on the boat with the white uniforms? You only wear that when like you're coming in, You're going up for a board because it's a good thing. You're coming in to station from a deployment, or you're about to get your ass chewed out. So I had to show up in my dress whites, and they basically were like, what's your story? And I started speaking, and he was like, shut up. We're sending you to captain's mast. So
Captain's
mast. So in the military, in the military, when you get reprimanded, your leadership can't really do anything to you other than, deny your leave or whatever. If they want to reprimand you at all, put you in the brig, take your rank or anything crazy to your career, the CEO of the command has to approve it, and it goes through a process. So the first thing was they put me in a room with a bunch of chiefs, all E7s, E8s, and E9s, chewed me out, made me feel like shit about having a business, all these things. Oh, you think you're better than us because you have a business? Like, what is this AMP local thing? What is this marketing? Like, you're not going to make it. You're going to fail. Like, you need to just stay in.
And these guys are like all highly ranked officials.
Oh, yeah. They're all lifers. They're in for 15, 20 years at this point. So
they're doing everything they can to get you to mentally break down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I felt like crap, but I was like, dude, there's no way I'm going to stop my business. I'm making you guys' annual salary in the monthly basis, like there's no way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then after that, they put you up to the XO, which is before the CO. And so I go to the XO at attention in my dress whites, and the XO is just kind of like, hey, hey, this sailor, did he file paperwork to be starting, running a business, moonlighting paperwork? And they said, yeah, here's his paperwork. So moonlighting paperwork is a form you fill out where if you want to have like a side job, a restaurant, or work retail or whatever, you fill that out and the employer has to sign it. Okay. So I did that paperwork because they asked me to. And when I got it, it said employee and employer signature. So I signed both because it's my business, right? So whenever this XO looked at it, he's like, this is not the correct paperwork. This sailor is an entrepreneur. He's a business owner. And the military under the UCMJ does not have any formal process to approve or allow active duty entrepreneurs to operate as business owners. So he looked at me and he said, HM1, you're free to go. About face.
Whoa.
And dude, I about faced and I saw my leadership to my left and my right standing here. Dude, you could literally, I'm not even kidding you. I thought I saw steam come. One of them was bald. I saw steam coming off of them. They were so pissed, dude. But I walked out of there scot-free. There's nothing they could do.
Wow.
So I'm like, fuck.
Have you heard that terminology where it's like you could cut the air with a knife? Like, I don't know. It must have been like so much pressure in that room for you.
Yeah.
You're walking across people that you've worked out with, suffered with, wanted to become like.
Yeah.
Were learning
had dinner with.
Went to
their home. Like, yeah. Potlucks, all the things.
And they're pushing for you to fall in line. And you know what was in your best favor or in your heart of heart? You knew that this was something you needed to do? Or did you kind of feel like you were doing something wrong? Did a part of you feel like you were doing something wrong? I
didn't care. I wanted to get out at that point, I wanted to get out the military. I knew what my value was.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like they appreciated or respected what I was doing. I showed up and I did my work. I finished my time honorably. I had a couple of mistakes.
Yeah.
I thought my leave started this day and I showed up late. There was a couple times I showed up late. It happens. But dude, I know for a fact that they didn't like I was making money.
Yep.
I have a mentor. His name's Randy Massengale. We're talking about mentors. Randy Massengale was the senior advisor to Bill Gates. And Randy told me that there's two tyrants to leadership. He says people are either going to scrutinize you or expect things from you once you have success. Right. So I was heavily scrutinized. So even, in the military, people told me, you're not going to make it. This is dumb. Just go back to work. Even some of my family, man, unfortunately, and they've accepted it now. But when I first started, there's like, just do your time, do the military, get your free medical, get your free VA benefits. Like just do that. That's secure. Just the older school mentality. And I faced a lot of scrutiny when I started my business. People didn't like it. But dude, when I started to make the money and they started to see the cars that I had and the things that I was doing, the trips I was taking, they started to ask me for things.
Yeah.
Can I get a loan? Hey, your mom needs this, so people will start to expect things from you.
Do.
So neither are appropriate, but it allows you to have grace for when you see it, because they don't really understand what they're doing.
Right.
So I think at every level, I experience scrutiny and expectations even today as an entrepreneur, on the things that I do. People will reach out if I'm hosting or sponsoring this event or taking this trip. I'll get a DM from someone I haven't talked to. Hey man, how are you doing? You should check out my thing. It's like, I totally get
funny,
so
right?
It's just the way it is. It's just the way, people see success. They think there's opportunity. They're going to reach out. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, there's a time and a place and certain contexts, I think, that's necessary in those situations. So, but that's what I experienced at a high level, is the scrutiny expectations.
When you finally got out, did you just blow up the SEO business? And if so, did you hit a ceiling? When did you decide to try something different?
This is a fun story. So about 7 months into the SEO business, it failed. So Google releases this algorithm update. It was called the Penguin. They name all their algorithms the animals for some reason. This one was the Penguin.
Wow.
And we nicknamed that update the Penguin Killer today, because what it did was it flagged SEOs that were doing black hat SEO. Black hat meaning like spamming link. Basic SEO, the way it works is like, the more websites and links that you have referencing your website online, the more Google's going to think you're an authority website, and they're going to want to push it to the search top. This is all changing with AI now, dude. It's a whole different ball game now. Yeah. But back then, I was just learning from some guy that I found on YouTube, and I was doing the black hat stuff, and I didn't even know it. Right. I was buying these links, $40 a month, and then getting a Wikipedia link for $150 a month, and now Wikipedia is mentioning my website for this doctor, and they're like getting all this traffic, right? So it's like all this stuff. But I woke up one day, dude, I had like 20-something clients paying me $1 to $3 grand a month, and they all disappeared from page 1 of Google for their prospective search term. So you could basically, I lost my business overnight. My phone started to blow up. Where are the leads? What's going on with our SEO? We were getting 10, 15, 20, 50 calls a day. Now nothing. So I basically lost all my clients almost overnight. There was like 4 or 5 that was like, dude, figure it out. I'm paying you all this money. So I knew, back then I knew what Facebook ads were, Google ads. It was kind of new, but I didn't really get it yet. I just knew people were paying to have like the ads show up. So I just dove in on all that, man. I learned Facebook ads. Boom. And got into lead gen and figured out, wow, you can put $1 in and get $3, $4 out the same day. Absolutely. So SEO, it's cool long term. Like YouTube put a video up, it's going to pay you for a long time, but it takes time. It could take 6 months, it could take 12 months or years. Yes, a long term game. Paid ads is immediate. Yep. Right today. So when I first started, I sucked, right? So the 5 clients I had, one of them stuck around. It was a party bus and limousine company called Lovely Nights Limo, still in San Diego today. Nice. Shout out Lovely Nights Limo. Shout out Lovely Nights. And yeah, man, my deal was, all right, here, let's do this. 25% net of your next 30 days is what we worked out from paid ads. They fronted the cost, and they wrote me a check for like $7 grand after 30 days. Wow. Turned that into a testimonial. Okay, paid ads is better. Faster money. I'm making way more money. Absolutely. So yeah, man, I just shifted my whole prospecting strategies just to say, hey, I can help you turn $1 into $3. Yeah. And I started to assign clients left and right. I ended up running ads for over 50 different types of small businesses: roofers, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, chiropractic clinics, you name it, stem cell. I've done it all, plastic surgery. So you went from an SEO agency to now an ad agency, essentially overnight, because you were forced to. Your business lost all of its clients because you were using a strategy that completely got obstructed by Google's updated algorithm. And now you realize, well, if I can put more of my time, effort, and energy in understanding ads, I can scale ads relative to the customers that are willing to spend money and find the value in that. Yep. So my next question is
Did you hit a ceiling in that business? And if so, what happened?
So this is what happened. We talked about scrutiny and expectations, right?
Yep.
I got into coaching and consulting because of expectations. People saw that I was making money. I was in the military, right?
Right.
Dude, how are you driving a S63 freaking Mercedes Benz, which is like a $200,000 car, right? Like I kind of went nuts a little bit in the beginning. Now I got kids, so I got, I can put like 4 car seats in my car, in my Escalade now or whatever I got.
Yes.
So, yeah, man, I had a Master Chief come up to me, E9, right?
Okay.
Hey, I've been in the Navy for 25 years. I'm 45 years old. I'm getting out next month, and I don't want to go sit in a classroom full of 19-year-olds. Will you teach me what you do?
Yes. And that's so many guys getting out of the military too.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, I literally dedicated my life to this, and now I want to go make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I told him, yes, I'll help you,
Okay.
Master Chief. I went home that weekend, recorded 12 videos. It was the worst course you've ever seen in your life. I uploaded to Dropbox. I gave it to him on Monday. And he implemented everything that week and landed a client by Friday, paying him $1,500 a month. And he came back and gave me $1,000. And then I was like, Master Chief, where's the other 500? Like, you should give me the 50. No, I was kidding. But I was like, wow, people are willing to pay you for what you know.
Yes.
I'm like, damn, this is cool. So that's literally how I got in coaching. So he told some friends at the hospital, and then all of a sudden I got all these active duty people in uniform. Yo, HM1, can I get the hookup on the course?
Yeah.
Yeah, $1,000. You got it, Chief? Yeah, here, I'll send you Venmo or whatever, So, dude, I started slanging this course like all over the hospital, and I made like $100,000 probably like in a month. Like just 100 people. Just
you sold it for $1,000, $2,000?
$1,000.
Yeah.
And then the community started to grow, right? And it was a do-it-yourself course. And then kind of what happened was, as it grew and grew and grew, where I got like to 1,000 students, 2,000, people are like, naturally they want more time and attention.
Of course.
So I said, well, let's do a done with you course. I'll do a coaching call every single week, and I'll walk you through the curriculum for that week. We'll break it up into 8 weeks, and you just implement it as I go over it, right? Instead of you just getting the course by yourself and doing it yourself, I'll kind of do it with you.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm not going to do it for you, but I'll do it with you. So I started selling that for $5,000.
Yeah.
And then that blew up, dude. It just kind of kept growing and growing. Then we flipped on paid ads, started to market to veterans, kind of like how I know Josh is doing heavy stuff in the veteran community now, which
absolutely.
is amazing to see. But I started to scale that out, dude. And as it got bigger and bigger, we rolled out a done for you program where we charge $25,000, where it's 90 days. We'll set up your whole business for you, run your ads, take your first sales calls.
I'm assuming you started building a team around you.
Oh, 100%. Actually, we had just about over 100 people towards the end. Before we scaled down a bit, there was over 100 people involved.
Wow.
Over half were sales individuals.
Yeah.
Because we were doing over 100 calls a day.
Because you had figured out leads.
That's it.
Early on in your business, you figured out SEO, and then you learned ads early when Facebook was just launching ads, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And you had tons of lead flow.
Mm-hmm.
So you scaled sales because your business wasn't really dependent on fulfillment. It was dependent on education.
That's it.
Okay. So share with us when you hit this ceiling, because I feel like it's coming. You already mentioned you had to scale back. So I know a lot of ad agencies, and they all, in my opinion, eventually hit some ceiling.
Yeah.
And so I want to know what challenges you started to face.
Yeah, man. So what happened was I had to come up with bigger packages to make the ad spend make sense. So that's why I did one. So my 1K course turned into a 5K course. The 5K done with you turned into a 15K done with you.
Yeah.
Then the 25K done for you rolled out. And the next thing I did was a 55K done for you plus 2-day in-person event at my penthouse in San Diego.
Yeah.
7,000 square foot, beautiful property, dude. I miss it. I sold it a couple years ago, but people would fly out 5 to 10 at a time, 55K a pop to be in the room, build out their whole business in a weekend, turn on their ads, take their first sales calls, get them their first client, all the things. And I marketed to people that were, this is important for context. People ask me all the time, dude, how are you selling 55Ks in basically a biz op style community. Well, because if you do broad targeting right now to like anyone that wants to make money online, dude, you're going to get a lot of people that aren't financially fed.
Correct.
Right. So my marketing was, I took sophisticated investors, people that were career oriented, people that were nurse practitioners, roofers that have been in their career for 10, 20, 30 years, and they're just tired of the rat race and running around the hospital and all the things.
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, what if you took your 20, 30 years of experience as a nurse practitioner or as a doctor or whatever the case is, and the lingo already, and what if we just bolt on our lead gen system? Now you become the go-to lead provider for everyone in your industry, in your vertical.
Yeah.
You can talk to them because you've been doing it for 20 years. We'll just do all the fulfillment on the back end. So that's how I sold 55Ks. And so every time I had someone in my house, I had people making multiple 6 figures, multiple 7 figures a year. I had a spinal surgeon that hurt his hand that was making $3.5 million a year, and he's 50 years old. And he was getting his license taken away, revoked, because he can't perform spinal surgery anymore. Yeah. He's like, what am I going to do? I'm only 50. I got another 30 years to go. So we turned him into a go-to private practice lead provider, right? So it was guys like that.
You're creating millionaires, essentially.
Yeah.
You had the testimonials to speak for it, so I'm sure it bolstered your coaching program.
Hundreds of videos, man, hundreds of videos. And we scale the crap out of that. So we did actually if you include all my consulting in between everything in there, it was over 100 million in total revenue. I mean, we were peak like doing 3 million a month at one point.
You were doing 3 million a month, brother?
$1 million on ads, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And spending $1 million on ads. That's in healthy margins, I'm assuming.
It was.
Yeah.
Until. I mean, before I'd say that, I'll say the agency I kind of left behind. The agency actually have the same clients. They're still paying me today. It's just a handful. I tailed it down. I went high ticket. Yeah. Stem cell, plastic surgery, a personal injury attorney. Like those are the only kind of clients I work with that are on like 10 to 15 or 20K retainers. Nice. So just have a small handful of those now. I didn't sell it or anything, but I stopped scaling it because the info space and coaching, obviously, it's a lot more lucrative.
Yes, it is.
Less fulfillment, right? But what happened was, man, in the last 6 months, I went on for this rip for probably about we had 4 years, which is just ripping, dude. But the last 6 months in that 4 years, which is about 2-ish years ago now, I hit 2 quarters in the red where I lost money. And I lost almost $10 million total. And
over the course of those 2 quarters.
Over those 2 quarters.
That's a lot of bleeding.
It is. And when you're selling high ticket, especially 10, 25K products, a lot of these people don't have it like can slap it on a card right away. First of all, they got to go figure it out, talk to their partner, their spouse. They got to go raise the capital. Yes. Hey, they're moving money from their IRA, or they got a HELOC that they're going to move on. Like there was all kinds of scenarios where people were like had money in different places. So all those things take time.
Absolutely.
So our sales team was constantly on the long-term follow-up. So your buying cycle could be 2 to even 4 months. Absolutely. Sometimes on these big ticket products. And you can only get there if you build it and scale it. That's why a lot of people have trouble being in high ticket because they can't stomach, just 2 or 3 months of like gut wrenching red months.
Yep.
So
and payroll and all that.
And everything. Yeah. So, but I had built it up over a decade to be able to do that, to get to a point at a peak. You just don't get to 3 million a month like that, dude. It's like years and years of building.
You've gone through a lot of valleys, a lot of highs, a lot of lows.
Right. So, but I couldn't, in that whole time, dude, on that rip, I couldn't look at my P&L month to month. I had to look at it over the quarter because I knew at least 1 or 2 months of the quarter would be in the red, where it would look scary. But then there was always that 1 month where it was like, boom, dude, green candle. Okay, we're 2-3x, everything's good. All the sales came in, right? Yeah. So, but the first quarter that didn't happen, I was like, what the fuck? This is not good. It's fine. We'll keep rolling. I started to, bring in extra talent, conversion rate optimization people, started to challenge the sales team. Hey, what are we doing for setters? Are you guys calling at the right time? What are we saying?
Pulling all the levers.
Yeah, as many things as I could. And then, next quarter rolls by, month 4, red, month 5, red, month 6, holy shit, 2 quarters red. So I'm down like 9.5 million or whatever it was. And dude, I was really stressed out. And at the time, a lot's being asked to me. I'm traveling, I'm meeting a lot of people that we know, you know, high up in our space, networking, masterminding, doing all the things, speaking, doing podcasts. I was doing all this back then, but more on the marketing coaching stuff. And, and at the same time, you know, I got a wife at home, got a daughter that's, you know, 2 years old, neglecting them, not seeing them, not being them there for, as, you know, like I should have been, you know, as a husband. You know, so dude, at the time, like, and I was also like severely disconnected from my faith too, you know, and I was just kind of falling apart, you know, to be honest. And I'm trying to hold it back, dude, because I've been through a lot. But yeah, man, you know, and at the time, me and my wife were like, actually, you know, hey, is this going to work out? Or are we going to divorce?
Wow.
That's how bad it was at the time. And I was so consumed in the business and trying to fix it, man. And then I found out, it was heartbreaking, that the sales team I was working with was shaving points and like overcharging me, and the accounting team didn't catch it, and they were just paying the invoice. And I was a yes guy for all the invoices. So if somebody's like, oh, $25K for this, okay, no problem, boom, approved. You know, Slack message, $50K for this, boom, no problem. Oh, the invoice is you know, $528,000. Okay, no problem, boom. Like, no verification on my end, dude. Just kind of reckless, dude. I'm just like, you guys are the experts. I hired you to do this. You need me to prove it. Cool. You already reviewed it. We're good. You know, so I had all this going on, and then they were like, and then I found out the sales team was also like promising our customers stuff that we didn't even do, like Shopify. I have nothing to do with Shopify. And we had customers giving us $25K expecting like a Shopify store. I'm like, bro, what is going on? So our refund rate, like I had to refund like a few $100,000 a month, you know, just to keep people from blowing up BBB or Trustpilot or bringing in other agencies I don't even want to fucking mention, you know. So luckily I did it right. You know, I refunded people. I did all the things. That's what a lot of people in our space that sell high ticket or coaching stuff, they're like, they don't want to refund. I'm like, dude, it's not worth it. No. You get at least one or two of these people together, and you get a, you know, complaint going, like, it's not going to be good. You want to be in business for a year or for 100 years? Yes. You know, so do the right thing. But still, dude, so I had to let that team go. And that team was, you know, running the entire sales company that we built. We had a recruiting agency. We had everything. Dude, look, it got bad. I had to let them go. Wife, families on the Brits, and I had nowhere to turn, dude. I was in my office one day, like looking for answers, and I just saw my crucifix next to my desk, and I just fell to my knees, and I just surrendered my life to Christ at that moment. And I got to tell you, man, like that was probably the most important thing I've ever done in my life, because I did not give him time and attention. I ignored him. He gave me so much in my life. He gave me opportunities, money, success, relationships, a beautiful wife that loved me, that raised my kids. He gave me two beautiful daughters now. And I was not grateful, you know, not humble, you know. And ever since I did that, dude, like I got to tell you, like my life has turned around 100%. Yeah. You know, we have this company LeadFi now. And I started that company. Me and my wife are great. You know, we're back. Good. Everything's good. I got the daughters. I'm in the home. The coaching business, I completely shifted it to be faith-based. It's called Kingdom CEO now. Wow. So we work with Christian entrepreneurs. We do work with veterans. We work with a lot of people we worked with before, but faith has just been, it's just such a huge part of my life. And I felt like I was almost selling my soul for all the things, you know, and what good is that, you know? What a blessing. Yeah, man. So I'm very grateful now. And I pray and always ask, and I've had to repent. There's a lot of things that I've done, but I'm just very fortunate to be where I'm at to tell this story. And now I have this company, LeadFi, and that was literally born because in that of trying to figure out what's going on with the marketing and sales team, the sales team always complained about broke leads, you know, but the marketing team said, hey, the leads are qualified. They put that they made $5,000 on the type form. Constant battle inside of a company. Marketing says the leads are right there, exactly what you asked for. Sales team says the leads are trash. Yeah. How do we get to that common ground? Exactly. Yeah. You know, and I got tired of it. That was part of our problem. Like we didn't know what our true financial quality was. And the marketing team was just optimizing for bad data. And I got tired of the sales team complaining. So I just got really obsessed with trying to figure that out. And, lo and behold, after I turned my life over to Christ, the very next day, someone throws me in a 3-way chat with my partner, Eric, now, who's been in banking for 20 years, underwriting for banks, working with the credit bureaus. And I said, hey, man, I have this idea. I'm in the coaching space. This is my business. I want to pull people's credit, right when they give me their phone number, right on the opt-in form. Is it possible? He's like, basically, it's not unless you have their address and date of birth, right? You go, apply for a loan, mortgage, car loan, whatever. You got to get your credit pulled. You have to give your address and everything. Well, put our heads down for like 6 months and created this product, rolled out LeadFi, which has patented technology that can take a name, email, phone, and go through the process of finding someone's current address, date of birth. We can even get their social security number, full background check, criminal history, tax liens, like everything. And then we can go do a soft credit pull with the bureaus. And now we know, okay, they got, 50 grand available on their credit cards in their wallet. They got an 800 credit score. They,
wow.
They're pre-approved for 100 grand and 0% interest. They're making 200 grand a year. Their debt to income ratio is 30%. So now we can go pull all this information. And now we know truly, okay, John Smith just opted in our type form. He said he was making, 100 grand a year, but he's really making 20 grand a year and he's got no credit.
Yeah.
So he lied on his application. So we're not going to prioritize that lead.
Right.
Where if you have somebody that's financially fit, you want to get them on the phone quicker. So now LeadFi is giving you this data right when they opt into your funnel. Now your sales team can immediately identify who has money, put them on a faster path to payment. Now your marketing team could take everyone that has high credit, high income, all the things, and inject that back into
the system,
right back into their ad accounts, and tell Meta and Google, hey, go find me more people like this that have money.
Right.
So that's what LeadFi does now.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's unpack this here for a second. So we had our SEO agency, scaled that, ran into an issue, pivoted over to essentially a general marketing agency where you're running ads. Started scaling your ad agency. Things weren't feeling right. We had multiple red months, started bleeding out, found out our sales team is shaving points, had a moment where you found God, which needed to happen, pivoted to a Christian-based program where now you're serving Christian-based entrepreneurs, still doing marketing and still doing ads. But at that same time, the very next day, you were put on a phone call with a banker who is now your partner, and you guys decided to form this company called LeadFi. After putting your head down for 6 months, your solution is, I know that I'm in the marketing space. I've been in the marketing space for the last 10 years. The issue that exists in marketing is we constantly are trying to optimize. It's hard to optimize when our sales team keeps telling us the leads are bad and our marketing team keeps telling us the leads are exactly what we want them to be. How can we get the truth, which is how much money does the customer actually have? How can I get this middle data here and actually be able to convert based off of knowing whether or not the customer is an ideal fit for my sales team? How did you know that this was something you could even create? You just started asking questions, and when you started asking questions, legally, what hoops did you start thinking you had to jump through? Because I started thinking of like, wow, if I'm pulling people's data like this, is this legal? And that's probably what other people think too
100%.
When you're going over this.
Yeah. I didn't care. Like, honestly, I was so fed up and I was at rock bottom that I was willing to do any and everything. Just like in the military, I was willing to do anything and everything to make rank progress my career. Same thing in entrepreneurship. I will do anything, dude. I don't care. You come find me in 5 or 20 years from now, I will have probably other rock bottoms, but I also will have many successes in that. And I can say that without a shadow of a doubt because I know who I am.
Yeah.
Because dude, I will go get it. I don't care, right? And that's really what it takes to be an entrepreneur. Like, you got to be able to get punched in the mouth over and over and over again and still get up and still keep charging, right? And I have now proven that to myself at least a dozen times now over the last 20 years, ever since I left home. Yeah. So, but when I went on this path to figure out LeadFi, I didn't even know it was LeadFi. I just was tired of people lying on our applications. I wanted to have profitable campaigns. I wanted to get back to truth.
Yeah.
And
should have called it Lead Truth.
Lead, right? Yeah, it could have been. I think that might have been one of the names. But we figured out the technology, and we fixed it on my offer, and it went. It's going really good now. Now we've converted it to Kingdom CEO. So I pulled it out of that pit.
Yeah.
But what happened was I told like one friend, and they told 2 friends, and they told 10 friends, and they told 20. So now we have I haven't spent $1 on ads, and now we have 300 6- and 9-figure brands that use it, right? And it's all people that that we know, that we're friends with, and some of the top 9-figure names in the name too, in the space. But and
this is now complete software you're running.
It's a whole package, and as we were building it, and figuring out, yes, if it's legal, yes, it's legal, it's compliant. So since we're pulling people's credit reports, there's something called the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, right? So whenever you pull someone's credit, there has to be a firm offer to be made. Like, okay, you're pulling someone's credit for a reason of receiving funding, right? Like a mortgage or a loan or a credit card, right? So that's why we created our automated underwriting system. It's called the AUS system, automated underwriting system. But when we pull the credit, we underwrite it for 0% interest funding. So we can tell you, hey, you're pre-approved for $250,000 and 0% unsecured loans. Mm-hmm. So now there's an offer to be made. There is a solid reason to pull your credit. And we do this for the purpose it's called pre-screening. So pre-screening is what banks do to send us all pre-approved credit cards in the mail. Have you ever opened up your mailbox, got a call or scan this QR code, get a $50,000 card with Capital One, whatever. Mm-hmm. I got one yesterday morning when I go check the mail. If you have decent credit, you're going to get them. So that's the same thing we're doing here. Yeah. Is we're just pulling pre-screening. So I don't deliver you someone's actual credit report with the derogatories, trade lines, all the things. No. I give you just like their credit score, how much they can spend on their cards, their pre-approval, their income and debt-to-income ratio. And that's all you need to pre-screen to figure out if somebody's financially fit or not. Yeah. And that actually requires the only thing you need to do to be in compliance with FCRA is put some language on your privacy policy to let your users know that you do soft credit pulls. But it doesn't necessarily need a checkbox consent, right? But you do need to follow TCPA protocol that gives the consent through the privacy policy that states, hey, legally you can use my phone number to process my data and market to it, right? Now, if I were to deliver your credit report, because we do work with people that do funding, that do mortgage, that do all these things, and we can even get a tri-merge mortgage report as well. That does require a checkbox consent. Got it. Right? So there's a difference. But legally, that's all that's required. And as long as you do that, man, you can let it rip. So talk to me about the results that some of the customers are getting, and how are they integrating it into their businesses? Yeah. So there's a lot of ways. I'm actually learning new ways because our clients are very savvy. Yeah. So there's actually new ways they're coming up with. I'm like, wow, that's brilliant. So my favorite way and the fastest way that you can actually see results with LeadFi, there's 2 ways, I would say. Number one, we all know how important it is to call a lead. Yeah. Right. Even if whether they book a call or not, you want to call them. You just pay $20 for Facebook to give you someone's name, email, phone number. If you don't call them, like you're just throwing that $20 in the trash. Yeah. Right. So calling them under 60 seconds actually increases the chances of them converting by 400%. Right. So that's huge. 400% better, more opportunity to convert that lead into a sale. But what happens is, let's say you get 5 leads, right? 5 leads, name, email, phone. We know statistically at least probably 3 of them are never going to be financially fit to work with you. They're just not going to have the right credit profile. They're not going to be they're not going to have the money to buy what you're selling. Right. But 1 or 2 of them will out of the 5. What happens is the people that are calling the leads, they're calling all of them, all 5, which is what you should do. Yeah. Right. But what happens is you probably need to call 3 or 4 people before you call that one person that actually has money.
Correct.
How long does it take to call those 3 or 4 people? And by the time you get to the 5th person that actually has money, do they remember who you are?
You're out of that zone. You're out of that warm period.
Exactly. Do they pick up? Did you call them fast enough? Right. So the whole idea is with LeadFi is we set up a system, a tagging system with dialers, where if the person is sales qualified, like we score them SQL or NQL. If they're qualified, that means they have at least 10 grand or more to spend today, or they're making at least 100K in income with a DTI below 50%.
Yeah.
Because if it's below 50% and they have decent income, they'll get approved for financing, like buy now, pay later. So that's a good lead. So you want to call all your SQLs under 60 seconds. That's going to increase their conversion opportunity by 400%, and you're only talking to people that have money.
Yes.
Instead of trying to chase down broke people. That's the first thing.
Right.
The second thing is, as that lead, so John Smith opts into your funnel, name, email, phone number, boom, now they're watching the VSL, or they're going to watch your automated webinar, however your funnel's set up.
Yeah.
Whenever it's time for a link to pop up that says, hey, apply or book a call, click here. If we got their name, email, phone on the opt-in, as long as we have at least 10 seconds to send the data to LeadFi and back into your CRM, we can actually control where that lead goes in your funnel. So let's say John Smith is SQL, and you only want to allow qualified leads to book on your calendar.
Yes.
When he clicks that button to go book, he will be redirected to your calendar. If he's not qualified, when he clicks, you can immediately redirect him to an alternate landing page.
Yes.
That sells like a low ticket offer or credit repair or debt resolution or something.
So even
like that.
protecting yourself and your sales team from getting people that have gone through your VSL or gone through your webinar and tried to qualify themselves when they're not really qualified.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yep. So now you only have truly financially fit people on your calendar.
That is, yeah, we got to get that going for our VSL, brother.
Yeah. Well, you guys have a license.
Yeah, I know. We have a license. We need to set everything up. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in ads every single month. I don't think we're up to the millions per month, but I know it's at least 200 to 300K per month in ads. And our biggest lever that we're pulling right now is our VSL. Our sales team does a really great job of closing our high ticket products on our VSL. But to your point, they're slammed in calls, and their biggest complaint is getting on a call with somebody that's not qualified. So of course, that's something I want to optimize for.
Yeah.
This is really good. Okay, so the
last one, my favorite one. I don't want to skip this one.
What's the other strategy?
There's actually a bunch, but this one's my favorite one actually.
Okay.
As soon as that data hits your CRM, we can build custom conversion API either via Hyros, which is very popular in the marketing attribution space, or without it. And we could send that qualified data back to Meta and Google so that you could start to optimize for true SQL.
Automatically?
Oh,
my
in real time. So
that's happening in real time.
In real
daily.
time. And we're seeing a 40%, average 40% increase in SQLs coming into your funnel. So this basically just means out of every 10 people that your sales team talks to, 4 more will have at least 10 grand or more to buy what you're selling.
Right.
So 40% increase on average. Dude, I have clients like reporting 300, 400% increases, right? But that's going to be the biggest lift that you're going to see, because now Meta and Google are out there finding you people that got 750 credit scores, 100K incomes, and all the things. So now you're getting just way more qualified people into your funnel.
Who do you think this is like perfect for? Is it people that are selling like digital products and like service-based businesses, or who would you say it's not really ideal for?
Yeah. So when we rolled it out, it was, like I said, I didn't start LeadFi to sell it. It was to fix my own coaching offer.
Yeah.
I got tired of the sales team complaining, the marketing team saying that everything was good. So 100%, anyone that sells info products or they do online coaching, right? Even consulting. So if they sell a high ticket product or service as at least 3 or 5K or more, it's ideal. If you generate leads and you want to know if your leads are financially fit or not, it's a great fit. But about 70% of our client base is in that bracket that I just mentioned. The other maybe 10% are in the like brick and mortar. We have stem cell clinics, plastic surgery doctors that use it as well, because they're selling $20,000 to $50,000 packages. And then
how would this help a plastic surgeon? Give me an example of like how this would help a plastic surgeon.
Yeah, there's all these, these mommy makeovers, these women that want like the rhinoplasty that's like 15 grand to get the nose fixed, right? Or the boobs that are like 20 grand, right? So in the medical space, there's something called care credit, right? It's a very popular financing option, in our online e-com space, or even like in the coaching space. We have buy now, pay later, but it's like Klarna, Affirm, Afterpay, right? That you probably heard of.
Yep, Klarna.
So Care Credit kind of rules the medical financing side. There's another one called Cherry. Cherry is kind of like for your subprime people that are like, below 600, but we can put them on a, $200, $100 a month payment plan for like 3 years or something, at like 30% interest. So Care Credit and Cherry. So, most of the time, unless you're wealthy, you can, pay for it cash, but most of the time, at least half of your customers are going to be financing.
Exactly.
Right. So let's say plastic surgeons, they're getting all these inquiries on their website or in their funnel for boob jobs, rhinoplasty, whatever the case is. And these are, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 procedures that people are signing up for. Well, they can immediately pre-screen them and see, are they pre-approved for financing, for Care Credit? Do they have at least 100K in income with a DTI below 50? Boom. If they are, they're SQL. Then that's a lead that we definitely want to prioritize, get them on a consultation, get them in the office, right? We know they can afford it. And if they can't afford it, if their DTI is 80% utilization of their income, there's no way in heck they're going to get approved for financing.
Right.
So they either have to have a war chest of cash in the bank that no one knows about, or they can raise the money from the grandma or family member, which is going to happen, but you're talking about 1% of the time. Right. It's not going to be like you buy something, you're going to buy it and fund it some way, shape, or form. So that's really the immediate way that like a plastic surgeon could use the data. It's just pre-screening data, just like a coach would that's selling a $10,000 product. Yeah. Right.
So this agency that you have, which is called Kingdom, correct me if I'm wrong.
Kingdom CEO.
Kingdom CEO. That is now more of a business that doesn't have as many employees as your other marketing agency, where you scaled that one to 100+ employees. So would you say that that's more of a middle-sized business now? What would you say is the employee count on that one?
I think we have about 30 individuals in that.
Okay, great.
So it's a good size.
That's a great size.
We're doing roughly 400 or 500 a month now. Yeah, so
that's great. And then now that you have LeadFi software business, you have some of the bigger brands and bigger names on this business. What is your vision with LeadFi? Where are you trying to take that company?
Every time somebody asks me that question, I move the goalposts, because like I told you, I didn't create LeadFi to sell it. It was to solve my own stuff. And then I saw the value that it had on my business. I couldn't help but to share with other people. Now I see the value it's having on everyone else's businesses. Yeah. And it's like, holy crap. So, I mean, right now, our valuation is probably somewhere around the 25 million mark, right? So, of course, I'm ambitious where I believe we could probably exit for 100 million. But I'm so passionate. I love this community, and I love this project and this company so much. And I love working and consulting with all these businesses. It's, when you build your own thing, it's your baby. You don't want to let it go. Of course. So I've heard of, friends that have sold for 100 million, but they were like, they got 20 million, then they got the other, 20 million in like 4 years. They had to stay in the business and all these things. So there's a lot of things that I still need to figure out on where I want to go. If there's an acquisition, if somebody makes the right offer, sure, 100% open to that. I'm just so focused on building and serving the community right now. Good. And just making this the best product it is. It's unique. It's one of a kind product. We have people that are reselling it. You're going to see popular companies that you may already know about, that are rolling out the technology, and it's called something else. Yeah. Right. And that's huge for us, because we're getting all of that on the back end.
Because you patent it.
Exactly. Because we have that. So I just want to continue serving this community and build it up. And when it makes sense, absolutely, we can take a look at that, but I don't see why this can't be $1 billion company. Yeah. We haven't even gotten really legit into mortgage yet. I mean, we've gotten a couple mortgage, but dude, so let's talk about that for a minute. So, when somebody goes to apply for a mortgage loan with a co-borrower, they're paying $150 to $200 with a co-borrower, right? We can get that pre-approval as long as the address is in the MLS. We can get that approval for like less than $20, right? So we can save all these mortgage brokers 90% on that cost, right? Because we just need the name, email, phone. right? And the address does have to be in the MLS.
And it probably is faster.
Dude, this takes 2 seconds to do
Yeah.
to get the data back. So we haven't even really tapped into mortgage for real. We're tapping into the funding space a little bit more now.
Yeah.
People that are raising capital, doing credit card stacking, unsecured loans, business loans, because we can get a credit report without address and age. So if you think about that, dude, there's
That's
like
insane.
Insurance. We can even get someone's assets, like their 401k, IRA, stocks, bonds, CDs, ETFs, even their real estate portfolio. Mortgage, back to that, insurance, life insurance, right? If a life insurance broker knows that somebody's a 10 million, 20 million net worth, well, they're going to try to sell them a higher life insurance policy if they have that much in assets, right? So we haven't tapped in any of these industries yet. We've been scaling hard in the coaching, consulting, like info marketing space. But now we're starting to branch into these other verticals, which are literally worth trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
Our coaching bubble is like $1 billion.
Yeah.
So this could be a $10 billion company. Who knows? We're solving we're getting credit data without address and age. That's all I can tell you. That's freaking huge.
Yeah, that's gold.
Yeah.
Is your partners on the same boat with you as we want to just grow this as big as we possibly can, or do they have ambitions of wanting to potentially exit a company like this?
So my partner is actually very ambitious, low key, for the mortgage space.
Nice.
So he's the one that is actually pioneering and going out into in that space and doing trade shows right now.
Yeah.
And we do have groups signed up on the mortgage side.
Yeah.
But that's actually a second tier of our company. LeadFi is focused on coaching and info right now, and we're going to branch out into funding. But he's pushing hard on the mortgage. So we both align in our vision where we want to build this thing as big as possible.
Yeah.
So
I feel like a lot of young adults right now are struggling to find their path, and a lot of them want to become entrepreneurs, but they understand the road to entrepreneurship has so many different paths. Mm-hmm. And when you look under, the hood of YouTube, a lot of people are pointing in the direction of day trading. A lot of people are pointing in the direction of starting your own marketing agency, developing some type of skill that may not require you to go back to school. What would you say to somebody that's contemplating wanting to start a marketing agency? Would you tell them to pursue it? And if so, if you could do it again, what would you have done differently?
Man, when I first got into all of this marketing and sales and all the things, I started to realize how good I was at promoting. At the end of the day, I'm a great salesperson. I could probably sell anything. And I didn't make the connection until I actually started to, close those $1,000 to $3,000 a month contracts in my SEO agency. I was good at articulating the value of SEO. And I was good at, closing those deals. But what I realized now in hindsight, I've been doing this my whole life. Yeah. Go back to the military. I didn't mention this, but I made E6 in 5 years. There's a lot of things that went into that. But one of the big accomplishments that I made was I became Sailor of the Year at that hospital in Washington, D.C. at Bethesda, Maryland. It has like 6,000 sailors in it. And to be Sailor of the Year, that's like a big deal. Yeah. That means you're the number one motivator in the whole command that is widely recognized for all your accomplishments. When you go up for Sale of the Year or Sale of the Quarter, every command has them, and any place you're stationed to. When you go up for those things, you have to get in your dress whites. Your uniform has to be perfect, pressed. Your ribbons have to be perfectly measured. You have to have the right haircut. You have to have the right, when you position yourself, you about face, left, right, all the things. When you're in there, going up for that board, you're usually in the hallway at attention with like probably 5 or 6 very well decorated, amazing sailors in the whole command. These are like this is the top, 0.1% of the whole command that's out there, and it's 5 people, and you're one of them, right? And so you got to go in there. Your package has to look amazing. You got to be able. It's got to say you volunteered, you went to college, you did your service with excellence, you went on deployment, you aced your physical fitness exams, you were just an all-star in your department, like all these things, man. And you get in there and you're sitting in a board of maybe 5 or 6, highly decorated chiefs or master chiefs that are way above you. And they're asking you questions, and the way you answer the questions and the eye contact you make and your demeanor and how you present yourself are all accounted for.
Of course.
So I realized that I was being groomed and to be a great marketer, a great salesperson my whole career, because I eventually won that board, Sailor of the Year, out of that entire command, and I received awards. And actually, I went on to win Sailor of the Year and Quarter at multiple other commands over the next 5-6 years as well. And I've kind of been doing this my whole life in the military, So when you ask me if somebody is considering getting into marketing or anything like that, or you said you day trade and all these things, I think the first thing that you need to know is you need to know how to sell yourself. You need to know how to articulate value of something to someone else that has a problem. You have the solution, and you got to be able to demonstrate how their life is going to change if they partner with you to solve that problem. Like, that is the number one skill set I think literally anyone could have, because everything, we've heard this before, everything's a sell.
Absolutely.
I got to sell my daughter's 6 every night. I got to sell her why she can't have lollipops and popcorn right before she goes to bed. I got to sell my wife why I want to go have Italian dinner tonight, instead of eating tacos, because we freaking eat tacos all the time because she's Mexican. Let's change it up, babe. So everything is a sell. And
everything's a sell.
And that's the number one skill set that you got to have, in my opinion. Now, are there things that you can do introvertly and do at home where there's no sell? Yeah, there's trading, all these things. But I think that if you're somebody, we're all human beings, you're going to have to come in contact with another human being at some point, unless we're fully Sentinel in 100 years and Elon, takes over the world with AI, who knows? But as far as like right now, this is important, this human connection, sitting with other people and being able to have a conversation and speak and share your thoughts and articulate things. Very, very important skill set. Yeah. So yeah, you can day trade. I know people that lock themselves in their room, in their home in Miami for months and months at a time, and they're pulling multiple 6 figures a month trading. Yeah, you can do it. But when you get around other people, you're just like socially awkward and like all the things. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But I think that if you're going to go build something incredible, meaningful, and leave a legacy, you got to be able to speak. You got to be able to sell.
Yes, you do.
So,
Douglas, this has been absolutely incredible. I think a lot of the things that I've learned about you is your resilience. And most importantly, man, you've been through a lot, but it's kind of shaped who you are. Now that I see you every single time that we're out with friends, I understand how you act and why you are the person that you are. You've gone through a lot, bro. You have. And, although I have not gone through similar trials and tribulations, I'm shaped by the type of experiences that I've gone through as well as an entrepreneur. And I think entrepreneurship is about going through hard shit, bro. It's about getting kicked in the teeth. It's going to happen whether you're in the entrepreneurship or you're before crawling into entrepreneurship. I'm grateful that you decided to come on to the show. If you don't mind, share with everybody where they can follow you at. This show is going to get released on our Wealth Made Simple YouTube account, and we redistribute it to my Instagram account and my Instagram page. But how can the listeners and viewers connect with you?
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Pretty easy, Instagram. So if you could just go to Instagram at _Douglas James, so THE_Douglas James, that's my Instagram handle. The LeadFi, if you want to check that out, it's just leadfi.ai is the website, and that's the easiest places to probably get in touch with me.
Guys, Douglas James, LeadFi, we are out. Thank you so much.